We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical condition. She perished shortly after she was taken. She is buried in nature. Sorry she died. Could two brief digital messages provide investigators with critical clues about who may be responsible? Welcome back to Crime Stories. Tonight, we examine a significant new development in the investigation surrounding 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. For days, local law enforcement stated to the public that they had not publicly confirmed receiving any ransom notes. Then, everything changed in less than 24 hours. Police suddenly released the full text of two separate digital messages received by the family. But this wasn't the biggest surprise. The timing of these notes raised serious questions. Why did early public statements suggest no notes existed? What subtle clues are hidden in the grammar and phrasing of these messages? And if the kidnapper claims Nancy died of natural causes, how does the law treat the perpetrators under established homicide statutes? Tonight, we analyze the text line by line to uncover what the evidence really shows. To understand these messages, investigators look closely at how the author writes. The first note opens with two simple words, "Hello, Savannah." Linguistic profilers, experts who analyze writing styles to identify unknown authors, find this interesting. Using first names in a kidnapping demand shows an unexpected sense of familiarity. The note then makes a clear demand for $1 million in Bitcoin by a strict deadline. And that's where the wording begins to attract closer analysis. The note explicitly asks for $4 million USD. Some analysts have observed that adding USD is less common in domestic ransom demands, although that detail alone cannot identify the author's background. Some analysts suggest the wording could reflect an international influence, or it may simply represent an attempt to project one. The author also makes unusual grammar choices, using open compound words, which simply means writing compound words like smartwatch or floodlight as two separate words instead of one. They mention a broken light and a watch left at the scene to prove they were physically present. Yet, digital security experts notice something missing. The note leaves out specific brand names or unique personal details that, in some extortion cases, investigators look for when assessing whether a communication originated from someone with first-hand knowledge. When the initial deadline passed without payment, a second message arrived. The second message changed everything. The monetary demand completely disappeared, and the tone shifted to self-defense. The text reads, "We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical condition. We never intended to hurt her. That was not our intention. She perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart-related. She is buried in nature." Some forensic psychologists describe wording like this as an example of linguistic minimization, language that may attempt to reduce perceived responsibility if authored by someone involved in the crime. Notice how the writer calls her death an unexpected medical issue. She perished. They also repeatedly claim it wasn't their fault. That was not our intention. Linguistic experts also spotted a clear writing error linking both notes, a comma splice. A comma splice is just a fancy term for joining two complete sentences with a comma instead of a period. For example, the writer says, "We never intended to hurt her. That was not our intention." It's repetitive, unnecessary, and uses the exact same punctuation mistake seen in the first note. This stylistic similarity could indicate both messages were written by the same person, though investigators would need additional evidence to confirm that. The author claims Nancy suffered a sudden heart issue. Investigators must evaluate that claim alongside the physical evidence. According to public reporting, investigators documented blood near the front entry and are examining evidence suggesting Nancy Guthrie may have been taken from her home without essential personal items, a scenario they would evaluate for the physical stress it could impose. More importantly, the writer's claim of having no intention to cause harm carries complex legal implications. If investigators establish that a qualifying felony occurred, prosecutors could pursue felony murder charges where the applicable law permits. Under the felony murder doctrine, individuals involved in the underlying felony may face murder charges if a death occurs during its commission, subject to the applicable law and the facts established in court. It does not require proof of explicit intent to kill. Whether the death resulted from panic, stress, or underlying health conditions, the law accounts for deaths caused during the commission of a dangerous felony. The legal framework ensures that individuals involved in severe crimes remain accountable under statutory guidelines. Investigators are not just reading the words. They are analyzing the digital footprint behind them. Cyber teams examine IP routing, VPN usage, and Bitcoin wallet ledgers. Setting up a Bitcoin address requires a basic level of technical knowledge. However, police know not to take everything at face value. Investigators recognize that some offenders may use false flag tactics. This simply means intentionally dropping fake clues, like foreign phrasing or odd spelling, to obscure their background. Such tactics may be intended to divert investigators toward incorrect conclusions. Despite these potential tricks, behavioral profiling, the process of linking crime scene actions to specific human habits, is a key tool. People involved in major offenses often display behavioral changes after the event. They may show sudden anxiety, alter their spending habits, or exhibit unexpected knowledge about the victim's private routine. As investigators continue analyzing available digital evidence, the writing style in these notes acts as an essential secondary guide. The release of these ransom notes marks a critical turning point in the hunt for answers. While public speculation grows with every passing day, true justice relies strictly on verified facts. Linguistic analysis, digital trace data, physical scene evidence, and formal court proceedings will bring the final truth to light. Whether these messages ultimately prove significant will depend on how they align with forensic evidence, digital records, witness testimony, and the findings of investigators. As investigators continue examining every word, the official evidence, not speculation, will determine what really happened. Thank you for watching. If you want objective, evidence-based true crime analysis, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.